you can't control these objects in your airspace, and that's known, if they can't, that's known, okay, then that's just a limit to the power of the U.S. military, and you don't want to tell people that because then they won't believe that they're safe. I get it. But then there's a deeper level, which is okay, what's your relationship with these things? What is the U.S. government's relationship with these things? And there's evidence that there is a relationship and that it's longstanding. And that raises a lot of questions about intent. And so what is that? And I just personally decided, and people have been hurt by these things. That's a fact. That's a fact. It's a knowable fact. It's a provable fact. And killed. And I'm not saying millions of people have been killed by whatever these things are, but people have been killed, and it's known because it's working its way through the courts out of the VA. So, I don't know, an object that is by definition supernatural, it's above the laws of nature as we understand them, and that has resulted in the deaths of people. We don't spend enough time thinking about what that adds up to. Not good, actually, not good.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Alien Addict. I, as ever, am one of your humble hosts, Lee Stevens. Before we get into the show, I would like to plug some stuff for you. Remember, we've got the merch. Remember, Alien Addict's a podcast. You can find that podcast on Alien Addict. We've got so many cool t-shirts for you to buy. And remember, we fulfilled our promise last time. And when we said we were going to take them off the store so you couldn't buy them anymore, we went and did it. So we're going to do it again. So if you want those t-shirts, get them now, because eventually we're going to take them away from you, like horrible parents. We have a announcement to make. We have decided through focus testing, intensive focus testing, which is kind of like just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what's stuck. We've decided to split the content that was on Alien Addict's podcast, and you can now go and follow the Conspiracy Mothership. It's on all on all platforms right now. I want you to do it. I don't care if you have to leave this show and then come back to it, or you can just pick another device up, go to your podcast app and subscribe to it immediately. I will be checking periodically through the show for downloads, and if the same amount of people that are watching this stream haven't downloaded the podcast, I will personally find which one of you hasn't downloaded it, and I will kill the nearest member of your family. Without further ado, Oliver, Dave, and Matt from Terrestrial Material, how are you?
Real good. I'm gonna go download so you don't kill my family.
Not all of them, just the nearest member to me. So it's not even it's not even the fact that I don't even care enough to pick one. It's just whichever is geographically closer to me. So it's the least work.
Physically most convenient.
Yes.
And if they stick around at the end, they'll hear the new intro.
Yes, they will stick around. They will hear the new intro if they stick around. See, that's why I like doing the podcasting, is because the speaking's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Can we all just take the time out to embrace Dave's new do?
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
So do I. I love it.
He's
too.
gone all Will Riker on me. I love that.
Give us the blue steel, the Ben Stiller. There it is. Dude.
Yeah.
That's a T-shirt right there. That's a T-shirt.
Oh dear.
Oh man.
Yeah. No, it's summer hair, man. Summer hair. It's warm here. It is warm. So I can't do it. It'll be that long again in like August, September.
Yeah, you did this before, and then like a week later, you just
Yeah. I mean, if I let it go for a full year, it gets about halfway down my back.
Yeah, it's the back of my hair that grows really quick, man. It just goes. Everything else not as quick, but the back, it's quite the mane.
The
Yeah.
top of
Natural
my
party.
hair is as quick as it used to be. The top of my hair is definitely not as quick as it used to be.
I thought you'd fix that. You know, do a little
It's
spring-
better. It's better. No. Well, the oddly enough, cold showers really helped. Cold showers really helped stop like the thinning on the top of the buns. I don't think having headphones exactly on that place, like for the amount of hours I do, does any help for it whatsoever.
That's why I lose my hair.
Well done, Ollie. You look more ridiculous, and that's quite a feat.
I'm sure
That's
this is
what I
by
was
de-
thinking.
I think
That's
that's,
the step, man.
I think that's by design. I mean,
Could be.
surely,
That reminds me of a kid whose lunch money I stole in like the 4th grade.
like
He caught a beating, and you need one too, obviously.
What are you saying, Dave? That there's a locker empty somewhere that we need to fill up, or what?
Yep. Those underwears don't wedgie themselves.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Like, I think it was 2 days ago. A day. When did the Tucker thing come out? Was it a day ago? 2 days ago?
Friday.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
look
said
UFO man jumping straight in with £5.
beautiful man.
Just bought 2 Alien Addict t-shirts. Love them. Been a member for 9 months and we absolute fucking MVP today, aren't we? But thanks.
Okay, send us a picture on Twitter if you follow us on Twitter. I don't know if you do the Twitter. I understand if you don't, it can get a bit heavier there. But yeah,
Or I mean, you can always email us at AlienAddictUK. At Alien Addict. What
There
is
you
it,
go, mate.
Ollie?
There you go, mate.
Thank
There you
you.
go.
AlienAddictUK@gmail.com. Thank you very much. Yeah, just give us pictures. We want pictures of you in our merchandise.
Just the merchandise.
Yeah, that's right.
How you wear it's up to you.
What is it, pants?
Be creative. Yeah.
What is it? Pants are optional, Dave, right?
Always.
Always optional.
Always.
Yes. So like 2 days ago that came out, and I said to you boys, I said, I've got no internet. Literally, where I was on the coast, I had barely any internet. So I've literally been I started listening to it in the car, and my kids were just like messing about in the back, and I had to turn it off because he started to talk about like people dying, and like I could see my little boy going like that, and I'm like, oh, this is not appropriate. But I did not expect that from that podcast.
I mean, yeah.
Like for the UFO part, anyway.
Well, it went straight in, didn't it? Like we talk about this on the Conspiracy Mothership podcast that's available now on all podcast platforms. It didn't have any chill to start with. It was like he was there. He said, have you heard about this Kona Blue thing? Yeah, but before Rogan even had a chance to offer him from Black Rifle Coffee.
Yeah, I mean, usually, and this is what excites me about that a little bit, because I mean we have Alien Addict boys, so it's like, is it going to start piping up again? Because it felt like the steam was starting to settle from 2017. But the fact that Tucker Carlson goes on Joe Rogan and he starts with that, it's not just like an in-between bit or anything like that. It's right at the beginning.
I think you're going to have a Stonewall moment because I personally, when I look at what goes on like UFO X, Twitter, whatever we want to call it now, when I look at what's going on YouTube, on other content creators. Not to blow our own trumpet, not necessarily us, because we've kind of been dipping our toe into this sort of thing for the past year, 2 years, possibly 3 years. I don't think 90% of the people that are like the target audience for the UFO stuff are ready to have the conversation about this being a paranormal.
That's definitely a takeaway, is one of the things he was talking about. Like, you see it being perpetuated that he's talking about aliens, but he's not. He's clearly stating that this is a terrestrial phenomenon that exists here and has existed here. And it's potentially spiritual or, energy, whatever you want to call that in nature. That's spinning it out there. And then the Kona Blue, whatever that is, it spins things in such a different direction that I think is going to be hard for people to wrap their heads around. Except for us.
True. Yeah, Ali, I agree. I'm assuming we're going to see something. Chris Mellon's response to the Arrow report was probably the first kind of shot back that was taken towards Arrow. Because Arrow and everything that's been going on with kind of the more skeptical side of the community, they've just been putting out content all the time. And there really hasn't been much of a response. I think that's what kind of people are waiting for Lou's book, because Lou's book's going to be probably a pretty major response to that. But as far as, getting more hard evidence or like proof style stuff, I don't know. I'm sure we're going to get more stories. James Fox has got his documentary coming out at the end of the year. And then, last night, a lot of people have been talking about a couple of whistleblowers that were potentially from that documentary have been kind of making their way around. And there was a giant space last night. So I would assume that if I was a whistleblower that went to Arrow and I didn't feel like after the first Arrow report, anyone really listened to me, and I didn't feel like my story was really told, you're probably going to see these guys go to different avenues. So Twitter Spaces, YouTube interviews, I'd keep an eye out. It makes sense. Yeah.
But do you think we're going to get any more footage? That's all I care about.
Well, you gotta ask Jeremy Corbell about that. He's real quiet. He's not been around. He doesn't really do Twitter Spaces. He takes advantage of a lot of the community, in my opinion. He takes their access and takes their views and even money, you could say, but he doesn't really do much for coming around. So I don't know. It's hard to say. That guy, you hear from him or you don't. There's not much else, but he's on cosmic time. So he's not on ours.
It seems to be the heat subject at the minute, the Kona Blue. But I'm kind of struggling with it, if I'm honest with you. I don't know if it's just me, but to fully understand what they're actually saying about it, it seems to be a lot of just words.
What part of it puzzles you?
The fact that it's just all on paper.
Yeah, I know, but it's right. They're releasing it's like a white paper. Right, they're releasing the studies and things that they found and blah blah blah. So it reads like that.
The trust that where it's coming from.
Oh, you can never trust the government.
Yeah, it's a proposal. When OSAP ATIP, however you want to say it, obviously people argue about when it started, when it wasn't, the name change, however you want to look at it. In 2012, when OSAP, in my opinion, it was OSAP, ran out of money. In 2011, just before that, I'm sure that they seen that the money was dwindling. They went and tried to get more money from the Department of Defense. They said, hey, look, we don't want to stand up these programs any longer. We don't want to give you any more money. They had the $22 million. And so what they did is they went to the Department of Homeland Security with this proposal for Kona Blue. And that's what the whole document is the proposal that breaks down, hey, here's what we want to do. Here's how much money that we want. Here's the programs that we're going to spend the money on. And here's why. But the interesting part to me is they didn't pull any punches. The remote viewing is in there. They wanted a consciousness center. They wanted a medical center. They wanted to go over people that have had injuries. They wanted to have even like a team that was on board, like a medical team that was at the ready. Almost to where if there was any injury again, those people would be instantly brought to a program like that, tested, and then they could kind of take the information and go further. The one thing that I did think was interesting that I never seen in it was there was no crash retrieval team proposed. And that said to me, weird. The people who wrote it, I mean, there's speculation who did, Eric Davis, Hal Puthoff, Lou Elizondo. Did they not feel that these things crash anymore? Why would we not want a crash retrieval team? That's weird, no?
See, I mean, with absolutely no reason for thinking this, I believe that the idea of crash retrieval and debris and that stuff, that sort of stuff, I believe that's the misinformation within this.
I've started to think that as well.
Yeah, because it's always talked about, isn't it? That if you're going to do some sort of psyop, you put a layer of truth in there, and then the psyop is within a layer of truth. And I think the nuts and bolts craft to this phenomena is the psyop, because realistically, we've got to think about this like like any other story that's come out, and our whole mind has been influenced by science fiction since the 30s, 40s, like before that, since War of the Worlds came out. We've been led down this path that there are things that are in the sky that could come to Earth, which are like usually malevolent, but they're going to come in big massive ships. And they're going to fuck some shit up. And I don't understand. It's the same argument, isn't it? Where, and I'm not going to go down a whole fucking like crazy dinosaur tangent here, but it's the same argument, isn't it? Where it's weird that dinosaurs were like a theory of like giant reptiles before they were discovered. Now that could just be bullshit, and what that could mean is that dinosaurs already been discovered, but like rich white like doctors hadn't discovered them yet, so they weren't officially discovered until we could put them in the Oxford Dictionary.
Mountain gorillas, right?
Yeah, which is probably closer to the truth. But I do feel that all the stuff we're talking about has been essentially found in science fiction before we've decided to like find it in real life. And it's, at that point, how can you have an objective opinion when like the best entertainment we've had for years has been telling us this shit?
It also seems almost too good to be true, because you have what Tucker is talking about on Joe Rogan, right? These things are spiritual in nature, and he went on that tangent a bit, and then he's, under the seas, under that, they've been here for a while. Well, that would lead you to believe that maybe they're from here. Maybe it's a normal phenomenon, right? And then you get the Kona Blue and the out there stuff it's talking about. But when you take it with what he's saying, suddenly it makes a lot more sense. And it makes you wonder what project did go forward that the government is doing, right? They just kill the whole thing, or did they move it and hide it?
Well, that's the other thing. There's a lot of people that argue that the reason why Kona Blue and this whole proposal got released was a way for Aerial to say, look at this program, don't look at the other ones over here. See, there was nothing. Yeah. There is no real program. And it's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't know. I don't know.
Arrow, like, whenever I hear that name, it has a taste in my mouth of just, I don't trust them.
Is it salty?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit salty.
Well, what about the MSG, the AOI MSG before the MSG? You get that taste in your mouth?
I just like, I don't know how anybody could take any of these people. I don't know how like true conspiratorial people in the UFO community can take any of these like government fucking bodies or whatever they are, but it very much seems like that seriously, because we've never, and we've said this so many times and we sound like a broken record on Alien Addict, but we said, we don't understand why people that are into this subject actually trust the like if it's coming from official source. If it's coming from military sources, it's coming from Navy or whatever, we trust that shit. Forget everything we thought about in the past, but no, we trust that now.
Yeah,
but
we shouldn't.
and we shouldn't know. But what does really does ring home is, and you just kind of like hit the nail on the head for me there, Lee, is I'm wondering if we're going to get essentially a fucking disclosure here. Because when you just said about a species that gets discovered, like about the dinosaurs?
Yeah.
What if that's the build-up? And it's like, oh, well, holy shit, here we go. This is another species. It's been fucking about with us for a long time.
I think there's an idea that there is a possibility here that this sort of stuff, even down to the mummies, like this is a connected thing, because it doesn't matter if people are ridiculing them or not. It's about getting the shit out there, getting people interested in it, and essentially like normalizing. There's an awful lot of normalizing goes on at the minute with like radical things, and it's just one of the ways to do it, to keep dripping it out there. Just quickly, I want to bring up this comment as well, because it's comments like this, which is the reason I do shows like this, that this could just be thrown up as a normal comment. Government won't acknowledge Bigfoot either. I have it under the utmost authority that as soon as the Democrats can work out how to make Bigfoot vote, then they'll acknowledge him.
Yes.
All the truth in that. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Bigfoot Greer.
Bigfoot Greer. It's interesting we talk about facts and proof, right? I like Tucker Carlson. I don't know that I necessarily trust him, but I find him entertaining.
Mhm.
And I find the little snippets, and he's obviously been involved in this topic for a while, right? And he has incredible access to things and places that we don't. So I think it's interesting that this is the version of things he's putting forward. If you think it, like one of his quoted things, he's like, what is the U.S. government's relationship with these things? There's evidence that there is a relationship and that it's long-standing. Those declarative statements, right? Like that's serious. Like he's
He
not
put his
leaving
neck
any
out there,
room.
dude.
Yeah, he's not leaving any room. These things exist. We have a long-standing relationship. That's the evidence we need to be after. Not the nuts and bolts. What is this relationship? Who formed it? What is it? What is it? Is it a treaty? Is it an understanding? What are the rules? What's the context? Why do we need an understanding?
I need to watch that interview again as well, because there was a very strange dynamic between Tucker Carlson and Rogan, and it caught me really off guard, because they're two people which I would have thought you just stick them in a room together, they're going to get on like a house on fire, and it's just going to be a great podcast. But there was, I don't, maybe it's because you had two hosts, and when you have two hosts, they're essentially their default is to try and interview each other. So maybe that was what made it weird. But I thought that like Joe Rogan real Joe Rogan skeptic sort of came out from nowhere, where I didn't really get where that happened, when he doesn't seem to come out when it's people like Corbell that are on and stuff like that. I think Tucker is the only thing I found. I not the only thing I find genuine about him. That's because that makes me sound like I don't like the guy. I do like the guy. But what I found most genuine about what he was saying is when he turns around and says that he's learned stuff about it and it's unsettled him, and he stepped away from it because it wasn't doing him any good. Like I said last night on the podcast that when you watch him, he's when someone says something, and especially if it's something that's got any sort of trauma in it, and they kind of drift away. They drift away here, and they're still speaking, and you can see that guy is seeing something in his mind's eye as he's speaking. That's what I mean. I don't want to know it, but that's what I want to know. I want to know what's unsettled him to the point where, and to be honest, maybe unsettled him to the point of why he feels he needs to talk about it.
You've seen this though a few times. I mean, we've put him in the intro, I think, about several times now, and it's usually that he's been singing that same line about these things are, not nice.
Well,
And it's scary. But
Right.
we've had that for like the past, I would say, year now.
Well, let's face it. We've more evidence that we should go from a. I think the good standpoint Tucker had in this thing is when he turned around and he said, "The time for talking about whether this is a real phenomena is over. It's a real phenomena. The question should be, what is it? Not is it?" I think lots of people should be framing themselves that way now.
Do you guys know, is Tucker religious at all? I mean, is he? I've never heard him talk about that.
I think he's
No.
religious. I thought he was
No,
religious.
he even says there he's kind of not so much an atheist, but he's like non-practicing. He's like he's very secular.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting. It's interesting, especially because he kept bringing up like the idea of it being some sort of spiritual warfare, and
Yeah.
he brought his like Ezekiel's wheel up as well, didn't he, in the interview?
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. But sorry, I've thrown myself off a little bit there.
No, I think Ezekiel wheel, like if you look at the description of it and different things throughout, like you just throwing out the Bible, right?
Mm-hmm.
These descriptions of heavenly creatures, it really does seem like you're witnessing a multi-dimensional creature that's stuffing itself into our reality.
Mm-hmm.
And just people like, why are you looking away? Why are you afraid? Because I cannot comprehend what I'm seeing right now. Like this does not make sense. It's interesting. So I do wonder what unsettling though. That's always what I go back to. What bit of information is it that's so unsettling that and he gives enough credence to, right? Like he calls it fact enough that he allows it to haunt him.
Well, yeah, I mean, even if you believe in angels and demons, if you had an angel in front of you, that'd be pretty unsettling. It'd be odd. Like, even though you would think that there's good there, that would still take you aback. No,
I think it terrify you. All the accounts we have terrify people.
Yeah.
They say, "Be not afraid, relax." Right. Like, what are you?
Yeah. So, I mean, if he's having kind of an issue where he's maybe not fully on that board, but he's realizing, well, maybe I need to get on this board or what's really going on. He may be having that little crisis existentially for himself right now. Yeah.
It's a good crisis
That's what it looks
to
like.
have. It's a good crisis to have. Everybody should have that crisis.
I wonder if there'll be a leak. I know because the Rogan interview went up live, didn't it? Then it was taken back down because Jamie had put it up at the wrong time. I believe was the reason that the podcast was put up, because people originally thought it had been put up and then pulled back down.
Yeah.
But it was just put private until the actual release time would have been. But in that time, somebody had leaked like audio from the podcast before it was actually released of the UFO part of it. And if Tucker keeps saying this stuff and he's getting it in so many other people's heads, and there's more attention being pushed towards it, it feels like it's only going to be a matter of time, because he must be telling people like what he said about it scaring him. We've all done shows with people where they haven't been able to say something on air, and then as soon as the camera's off the record, we've been told stuff by guests.
Mm-hmm.
Rogan must have asked him straight away as soon as that show's finished, like what did you see that scared you? I think it's only a matter of time if he keeps saying that to people and he tells them afterwards. I think it's only a matter of time until somebody accidentally keeps rolling while that story's being said.
Yeah, but why is nobody pushing that? I found that so odd that nobody said, "Can you elaborate on that? What is it?"
Maybe they know and it scares them too.
Don't forget as well. It's like there will be a list of, even on a Rogan one, as good as that seems, as in like it's a casual chat with people where people just come and sit down. There will be like terms and conditions of that podcast. There will be no-go areas in there. I mean, very, very little questions about Putin. You'll notice. I think, in fact, I think it was only Tucker that brought Putin up. I don't think Rogan pushed him at all about his interview with Vladimir Putin, which seems wild when you think about it. The purest example to show that there are some sort of rules of engagement on that podcast is the fact that when Macaulay Culkin was on it, Rogan didn't ask Macaulay Culkin once about Michael Jackson. Not one single question about his relationship with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a podcast host. He's not like that's the thing. You're like, you need to go hard, get into the. He's not an investigative reporter.
No,
he's not an investigative journalist. He's just, podcast host.
In fact, you need to find an investigative journalist to find the investigative journalists now.
Did you guys see any extra push at all for that episode based off of how it got accidentally released and then how they came right out of the gate with something like that? Because I wondered how much more they wanted people to view it.
I don't.
You know what
I mean, if anything, I think it's been suppressed. Like the last time I checked, it only had like 3 million views on YouTube.
Only 3 million.
Only 3 million, which is fucking ridiculous to say.
Right.
But that seems like a low amount for that show.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that, Dave? That thought came through your head?
Yeah. I just because like Jamie on the show, he doesn't make errors like that, right?
Right.
All the time he's been there. When's that happen? It's not.
Yeah.
And this happened. Audio leak. Things were already set. Seems strange. Maybe it's good marketing. Maybe they're trying to get out. Maybe they're trying to build that hype, the conspiracy hype to it. I can see that. It's just good marketing.
That's what I was wondering, Dave, about is it a bit of clever marketing?
Yeah.
We'll put it out. They'll think something's been deleted. Yeah, I thought that, but I don't know. Somebody would have recorded it. We'd have seen which bit was missing, surely.
Yeah. That's why I think it was marketing.
Because you can guarantee there's somebody on the trigger on every single Joe Rogan podcast that as soon as it goes, it's there. They hit record on the whole thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if you don't think of it as being like fans, and there will be people out there which think they're, which are genuine documentarians, which because we know how information can be like got off. I mean, fuck me. There was people out there stealing our shit. Do you know what I mean? Like shit gets re-uploaded. This is Joe Rogan. If it happens to us, it's happened to him all over the place.
But you took them out, Lee.
I did take them out.
The closest family member.
Yeah.
Closest family member.
Oh no, that was like a couple of generations back. We wanna we want to nip that in the bud.
Whole bloodline.
So we want to really uproot that. We don't need it.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
Not even the Shih Tzu remained.
No.
Yeah. I mean, my idea, like at the beginning of the week, is like, I'm going away. What do we talk about on the weekend? What's going to hit? And I'm just thinking stuff might happen. So the thumbnail came out before we even knew we were going to speak about. But I do want to bring this up. So the whole 2027 thing keeps rolling about. You keep hearing that in the UFO world. Do you reckon there could be anything to that?
Predictive programming, maybe.
So yes,
that's the idea of predictive programming, isn't it? Look at the amount of things now. I mean, if something was to happen in 27, people would go back and find it in fucking movies and television shows and all over the place. Look how many times we find 9/11 and shit now, and in weird places like that Simpsons flyer on the bus ticket where it's the Twin Towers of the 11 and like 9/11. Fucking wild.
There's like a movie cover that's got I can't remember what movie it is, but it's a famous guy, and he's standing with the Twin Towers. He's kind of like grabbing them, and they're kind of broken up.
Yeah,
I was like, that's really weird too. I seen that one the other day.
The when in the Super Mario movie is pretty crazy as well. Have you ever seen that?
About halfway through.
Oh yeah, the old one.
Yeah. So the
old one. Okay.
Yeah, the old one. The
when they're phasing the dimensions
something
together.
happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
the two dimensions
It's rid of the
melt
tops of them,
together.
doesn't it?
Mhm.
But it's
Wow.
the twin towers break in the same way as what it looked like when the first tower was smoking. It's
Oh
The
man.
exact
fucking.
same.
I
Like,
need to find it. I'm gonna find it.
yeah.
I've been hearing 2030, Ali, because of the Soul Foundation stuff. But where are you seeing
As long as you're
2027?
not hearing 2033.
What am I missing, man? Fill me in. Why?
I've heard 2027 a few times. You've heard that,
Have
yeah,
you?
unless I got
Yeah.
that wrong.
No, I don't know. Because when I seen the thumbnail, I was like, 2027. What's Ali know that I don't know?
Oh no, this is you're not going to get
Oh.
any information. What I
Because
will
we don't
say
tell
is,
people what we
yeah,
know.
we don't.
We
don't
collect
do.
it.
Yeah.
It's not that he doesn't know; he's just not going to tell you.
After the show, Matt. Yeah, maybe.
Don't call him
Dave-
Ollie.
You got some NDA or what? You know?
Don't
But-
come Ollie the gatekeeper for nothing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That,
No, I've
that-
heard 2030. That's what I've been hearing.
So I haven't heard 2030. I've heard 2027. I've not
Okay.
heard 2030. But nevertheless, whether it's 20, whichever one it is, if it is 2030 people, that's
I shouldn't have
should
said
put a
anything,
poll-
man.
it's fine. Let's put a poll up. I can always change the number. No, I'm sure I was
Oh, man.
2027. It's 2027. I heard it a few times. I heard it the other day on a podcast.
Yeah.
And I heard it a few months ago, and I've seen it on Twitter. Now, if that's the case, then Hollywood needs to get its ass together. You've got what, 3 years, people? You need to do a film. You know, you can't do it afterwards. You gotta do it
Spielberg's got
before.
a new movie coming out, Ali. They're
Yeah, I
working
know.
on a new UFO movie. Yeah.
Is it
Is
an
that
actual,
2027?
Is it an
Is that?
actual real movie, or is it a movie / documentary? Because I want a
Oh,
movie.
it could be.
I'm in the mood
slash.
for a movie.
But I think it's a movie if it's him. I don't, And people are kind of debating whether or not he's going to go forward or backwards in time. No real
I
way to
want
know.
another Close Encounter of the Third. I want that. That's what
Good
I
movie.
want.
It's a
Yeah.
good movie.
Yeah, Lee's looking for Super Mario.
Got it.
I'm still interested in Tucker. I want to know what leads him to believe that the United States government has an established relationship with these non-human intelligences. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
There's another part of it as well, because that sort of fades away, that crumbles, so it starts off with them both sort of smoking, but it's just fucking weird.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
That is crazy.
What do you think it all is? Terrestrial? What do you think it all is? What do you think it means?
What, the whole phenomena?
Sure.
I don't know. I kind of have like three competing theories in my head right now. The first winning one is that it's AI from the future. I just look at like Chat GPT and quantum computing, and then when you look at Boston Dynamics, what they're doing with their robots, and at some point in time, all three of those avenues, they're going to merge, because I mean, these corporations are going to want to put that stuff together and take advantage of some kind of super system, whether it be super soldier first, and then they kind of expand from there. And then you start putting together maybe scientists robots that way, where they're powered by quantum computing to essentially create physics and take physics further on. You know, you give that 100 so years, and you kind of almost get something like Vicky in the iRobot movie. And then you ask yourself, well, once we get to Vicky, what's another 200 years? Where does that expand? You know, if this perpetual motion just keeps happening with this, how do we know that it doesn't crack gravity for us? Doesn't create us our own crafts, and it's just us coming back from the future or something like that? That seems plausible to me. The more and more that I see what's going on. I mean, I just went over an article today where there's AI that are now flying jets autonomously, and they're dogfighting our human pilots. I mean, this is 2024, man. I mean, just think about it. 50 years, where are we going to be? And so that kind of makes sense. And then the other one maybe be a civilization that was able to get here, that's been here maybe a long time, way before us, and the universe is just incredibly old, incredibly old, and we're not even close to understanding what's going on. Maybe the Bible's got some typos kind of thing on the dates, you know what I mean? Or somebody changed it because they wanted to have it be a certain way. So maybe cryptos like that are here. And I just think the extraterrestrial is third place. I just think that if you can, the more that we learn about physics and trying to get here, and I'm no expert on it by any means, but just trying to get here and dealing with time differences between where you came from and where you are, unless you're a civilization that has astral projection almost figured out as a technology to just move your consciousness technologically, not like spiritually, I think you're in third place if you haven't figured that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good.
It is 2027 because Roth Coulthard said it is. So it must
Okay.
be.
All right.
So
I'll
what
defer to
happens-
his judgment.
What happens in 2027? Isn't it disclosure comes, alien invasion, or is that when the Apophis comet hits?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Swing set in
Yeah.
2027.
That's what it
Between
is.
us
That's
and the moon. Between us and the moon. Between us and some satellites.
Yeah,
Well-
that thing's going to get the closest that anything's ever got before at that size, apparently.
Not the one that allegedly took out the dinosaurs.
Yeah, but that didn't just get close. They've actually skimmed.
That's pretty close.
Yeah. It's close as
Yeah.
a shave.
It's quite scary to think about that.
It is scary to think about. I like the AI one. Something I think about sometimes too is that it is some form of unbelievably advanced AI based on technology we couldn't possibly fathom from a civilization that's gone. They're the only thing still running. You know what I mean? It still exists. And it's doing
Like
some-
Transformers.
maybe, but less erotic.
How?
And I see what you
Because they're transformers.
there it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a couple of sexy transformers, you know.
I don't give a fuck. I'm not letting my child share a bathroom with Starscream. I don't trust that motherfucker.
The whole asteroid theory, though, like,
It's not a theory.
yeah, no, I know it's not. I know it's not a theory.
I mean,
It's
it's
common,
it's
baby.
there.
I am a flat earther.
Yeah. That's
Go
true.
stand
I
on
guess
his-
to you, it's a theory. Yes, I'm sorry.
Go stand underneath it and tell us how much of a theory it is when it comes.
That's what she said.
I do sometimes wonder though why on earth, I used to talk about this with my dad. I was like, Dad, how come we're still here? You know, the one like
Where
Wonder-
were you?
one hit and destroyed the dinosaurs. How come there's no more that just? How come we don't see an entire like village taken out? You know, never mind just like little ones hit. How come we never see any big ones hit and like take out something massive?
I think it's fair. I think it's a fair question.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. And you know what question goes hand in hand with that for me? And you'll love this, Ollie. The speed at which these bodies travel. I'm talking micrometeorites, right? Punching holes through things. How do we have anything in
Yeah.
orbit? How does any sort of satellite survive up there?
I asked this to your NASA friend Dave that came on. I asked him, the guy that worked on the ISS.
Well, they both
And
did.
Yeah, and I said to him, I said, why? Can you explain, like, if one tiny thing hits that thing, why it doesn't just take it out? I mean, he explained it like it separates the asteroid into like it almost turns it into a shotgun shell.
Mhm.
It separates off into little tiny pieces, so they do get hits. And I was so surprised that thing's still there.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah.
I mean, something's up there.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you can see it.
my telescope friend, you can see it.
You have a telescope, friend?
Yeah. Deja vu he's actually linked in the channel.
Is he in the room right now? Can
He's
you see him?
Do you have a
linked-
binoculars, friend? Do
He's
you have a...
linked in our channel. Featured people.
What's his name?
Deja vu.
I think I've met him.
I think you've heard that before.
At the risk of sounding like we've interviewed too many flat earthers, the the question I've had, well worth throwing like ridiculous questions around that anybody that knows anything about space is probably fucking disgusted with us. I've always found it weird that you don't get shooting stars going up. We live in a 3-dimensional space.
Mhm.
I've always
Wow.
felt that, yeah.
It's gravity well when it catches, I think, is the explanation for that.
Is it? Yeah.
Feels
Sure,
weird.
sounds good. Let's go with it.
Yeah, I mean, I
Say
don't
with
know,
confidence.
dude.
No one will
Who am I?
question it.
Yeah. It sounded great to me. Gravity well. I was like, I'm on board, dude.
Yeah, I just put that together. I don't even know if that's a thing. Guess it is now. The thing everyone needs to understand is all words are made up.
That is true.
It's true.
That is true.
All words are made up.
Your
Say
other
whatever you
friend,
want.
Dave, that speaks fluent Klingon.
Well, he's not my friend, to be fair.
Good.
He's my other friend's friend.
You brought him on.
Yes.
He
That's the
was a
first
nice-
time I ever met him.
He was a nice chap. He spoke fluent Klingon. I'm in.
Was that,
Fluent Klingon.
was that the other NASA guy?
yeah,
Yeah.
the NASA guy, yeah.
That was the NASA guy that pretended he hadn't heard of any irregularities on ISS footage.
Yeah, I can't blame them. I mean, they're contractors, you know,
of
like
course,
that's
of course.
they're just trying to keep doing their thing. They're good dudes though. Getting them those kinds of people to the side and having fun conversations, and when they really kind of open up, you're just like, what? No, nuclear powered planes? It doesn't see. Oh, it's a thing. We buried them.
Mhm.
Did we take the reactor out? No. Well, shit. Nuclear powered tank? Did no one think that it might get shot? They did. They take the reactor out? No. Were they next to the plane? Just putting dirt on it. That'd be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, forget about the submarines.
Dude, they made nuclear powered Jeeps.
Wow.
I think I'm kidding. I wish I was.
No.
Yeah,
I wish you had one.
Yeah, no, I mean, like the nuclear batteries, they're a thing. Like the military's had them forever, Navy's had them forever. There's plenty of old footage you can go look at when they were adapting it to the planes, and those are the ones they were making publicly known. Had lead shielding, water walls of pockets. It's incredibly heavy. It had an active reactor on board because there's like, I wonder how difficult it'll be to maintain a reactor while we fly. I wonder if we can fly into the reactor's power. And it's like every time this thing's in the air is a potential nuclear incident. They're just, that'll be fine. Are we gonna tell anyone where this thing's flying? Nah. Nah. If it crashes, they'll find out.
Do you remember, like, well, you remember this all right, but when Bob Lazar, whether you believe him or not, I love the story. But about the guy that tried to cut into the reactor that died before him. So he was working with a guy called, did he say his name was Bob?
Barry, I think.
Barry, that's it.
Yeah.
And it was a B. But Barry told him about his ex-partner that was working on the saucer with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to cut into the reactor.
Mm-hmm.
And died.
I mean, as Bob had said, they had put one of like the gravity creation stabilizers, what they'd had it removed, right? Think of the balls it would take to have this unknown craft with technology so advanced, you don't even know what the material is. What are we gonna do?
For your homie, bro.
Sorry about Barry, Bob.
For anybody listening to audio, we have Bob Lazar in the comment section.
He's a huge
just
fan
put
of the show.
RIP.
Huge fan of the show.
We should have
Sends us
thought about him
nudes.
before we brought this up.
Yeah, he sends us a lot of nudes. A lot of Bob Lazar dick pics get sent in here. It's far more impressive than you'd imagine. But think of the balls it would take to cut into this unknown craft, alien or not, ancient technology, whatever.
We love looking at Bob's Element 115.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason he had a brothel. He
It's
was the
fucking
break-in
super,
man.
It's super heavy, that's for sure.
But yeah, I mean, think of that. So yeah, of course he cut into the reactor because some other idiot's like, I bet I could cut this out. It's like, we don't even know what this is. Nah, give me the torch.
This is the same. This is exactly the same logic as why you see TikToks of people's legs shattering when they're doing like leg presses with all the weights in the world.
Yep.
Same logic.
Same logic. Yeah. Yep. Those are those kind of people, man. And they're mostly disposable. Contractors are mostly disposable. They sign all this kind of paperwork where they won't talk about it. You can fire them. You can ruin them. You can make sure they don't get other work. Like the whole point of the extra layers of security aren't so much NDAs with contractors as it is with, it's such a small world that they jump around to, and they can't really have a.
In my head,
a resume.
Mods Mayhem has gone full Britney fangirl from early 2000s at the moment.
I like Mods Mayhem's logo.
Yeah, well, we didn't even say anything about Ollie's hands.
No,
but
It's true.
yeah,
look at it with that
Look at that.
thimble.
You know what that is? That's a teacup.
This is a shot glass.
Yeah, it's foolishness is out there. But yeah, so they'll die. People get hurt. They don't, they underreport it or explain it away.
If all this comes out and it is something natural, what's Bob going to say then? Well,
the thing is, like, these things aren't
told a couple of porkies.
Well, here's the thing. At no time does this natural phenomenon that Tucker is talking about, whatever else is existing here, and the sport model alleged pieces of technology that were found, they're not mutually exclusive. It's not one or the other. Both of these things exist. This is an open system. That just means there's more history or more going on than we understand. The problem is everyone wants to write it off as it is one thing to catch and explain all, instead of multiple phenomena all occurring together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in parallel.
Like the
Graham
Bob, Hancock. Sorry,
go ahead.
sorry, go on, Matt. No, I was just going to say quickly.
I was just going to say before we got off Bob there. Ollie, he probably would be. Yeah, there you go. He probably wouldn't be too shocked though. I mean, he's the one that brought up a lot of this archaeological dig on Rogan. So I don't know how off he would be on that. I think the interdimensional stuff, like aliens, demons, that might catch him a little off guard. But I think the whole crypto-terrestrial ideas, he'd probably be on board.
If you remember when he was doing like an early debriefs with Knapp and there's videotape floating around of it, they kept pressing him for the spiritual, like, hey, talk about the spiritual. And he's like, I don't want to get into that. He's like, I want to stay with the physical stuff. I do not want to talk about that because I can't articulate it. I don't understand it. I can't do that. What else was in that briefing? What does Bob know that Tucker knows that I'm sure Tucker's told Joe at this point that young Jamie found out and messed with his head enough to leak it or not leak it? Or the trickster phenomenon that tends to go along with these things would lead itself to why that video. Like maybe it was interesting marketing, or maybe that was just the trickster phenomenon at play.
Find out if we are containers. Are we containers of the soul? I don't know. It's interesting, dude.
Well, we're definitely like, if you believe in souls, then you understand you are a soul. You have a body. You're in a biomechanical suit, but that's not who you are. It's not what you are. You're the electrical impulse that inhabits you. You're that consciousness. You're the point whatever grams that disappear at death. Yeah.
The thing is, he was only ever told that somebody cut into the reactor. He never saw proof that somebody died or anything like that. And this is not me saying I don't believe Bob Lazar, because I honestly don't know what to think about that. I love the story and I go back and forth with it. But like you just said, Matt, about the archaeological dig, and when I mentioned where it would actually blow all Bob Lazar's theories out of the water, but then I've had 5 seconds to think about it. He said those things were like Jello molds. There was nothing in them. Nothing. Just some kind of like things that look like tiny seats and what have you. What if they actually wasn't? Let's say this.
He did draw reactor plans though, didn't he?
He drew what the
With-
things look like, but he said he couldn't get in anything.
No,
Is it-
but like he had where like the gravity amplifiers.
Yeah.
were
I
and
think
stuff,
we've
so-
actually got a picture of it on here.
Yeah. What he was explaining was like a technical machine.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say before was Dave's right. Like the idea of the like phenomena being something that's supernatural, and flying saucers like that the government are trying to back engineer. They don't have to be the same thing, and one can exist. They both can exist with each other.
Yeah.
Or like Graham Hancock's like reset theory could 100% explain the fact that we find hyper advanced technology that we don't understand, and then we have to try and back engineer it to work out what these things are.
The thing to take into account is we have some idea of how old our planet is, right? A couple billion floating around, right? How long is our modern written recorded history?
Yeah.
6,000 to 8,000, maybe.
Mhm.
You know, that everyone's kind of comfortable saying. And
Yeah.
then we find these other things that may be 50 or 25, depending on the star charts and celestial alignment. Maybe they're 250. That, if you were to graph that, is so small at the end of the scale versus a billion years. You can't see it. It is not 1% of 1% of 1% of 1% of time.
Well, yeah,
And
kind
he-
of touch back on what Ali was saying. He's saying, why aren't we getting hit by these asteroids? We don't see this happening because of what you're saying, Dave. It's such a small time frame, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a small time frame. Like
Yeah.
we're going so fast and we're here, and whatever these things are that are underground or under the oceans that are interacting with us, that whatever's going on, whatever the moon is, whatever these craft are, we want to think that it's all one thing. It is one mastermind, right? We've seen too many Bond movies where it's just one villain. You know, the reality is you go to Congress and they're all villains. You know, they're all corrupt. They're all scum. It isn't just one thing. Even in the occult or the things we talk about on Conspiracy Mothership, right? There's so many different facets. There's so many different cults and organizations, government, non-government, NGOs, you know, multinationals, all worshiping a different dark thing, all trying to make a deal, all trying to do whatever it is they're trying to do. Sometimes their paths line up, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, same thing with the intelligence community and just normal intelligence stuff. You know, sometimes the FBI, Homeland Security, and the CIA are all together. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes the CIA is not even with the CIA. They got different fragments doing different things, sometimes against each other.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Bill Nelson just this week was getting grilled by, I can't remember who it was. Bill Nelson's the director of NASA or whatever. And they were asking him, you know, why is China going to the backside of the moon? What's on the moon? And he's like, we don't know what's on the backside. We don't know why they're going. We're going to go ahead and go to the southern part of the moon where the water is. We think that's where the money is. How do they don't know what's on the backside of the moon? I feel like NASA would have told you that they knew about that over time, but when they get really in the hot seat, and I found it interesting with him because when they did the conference where everyone was asking him about UAPs, he was real cavalier. And when he got in front of those guys, he put his heels together for them. He knew he was It's like, that's a different Bill Nelson when you got to answer those questions. But I think it made them look really foolish. And it made me, you know, it makes you look at NASA in another direction because I feel like they try to push this idea that they've got all the answers about stuff like the moon, and they don't, man. They don't know the half of it.
I mean, if NASA's coming out and saying that we don't know what's on the dark side of the moon, like, where's your money going? You know, like you got you.
They looked foolish.
Dave and Matt, where has your money been going in the past?
Yeah,
that's something. So my NASA friends, it's something, that conversation that we've had, whether we've ever been to the moon or not, right? Their argument is the technological innovations and revolutions that have come out from the pursuit of it is what justifies the money. I mean, granted, we don't get to see most of those things. They're all in private industry and patented and whatever. We get to see some. We got Velcro. All right. We got pins that ride upside down. We got Tang. We got dehydrated Skittles and ice cream. Freeze dried. Right. We're doing good. We're doing good. It's worth trillions of dollars. All right.
For the Velcro alone, I mean, it's a lifesaver. Like
Non-stick pans. I mean, might be horribly carcinogenic, but you know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely giving you cancer in real time. Yeah, 100% giving you cancer in real time.
Yeah,
But
you only
you know
live
what?
once, you know.
Yeah, easy cleanup. Easy cleanup. 30 years of your life, you're not doing that, doing dishes. Let me tell you that. Just wiping it right off.
Have you tried to get like scrambled eggs off a pan? Like that's worth 5 years alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
Why are
switched
you
over to
frying scrambled eggs?
What?
Frying.
scrambled eggs.
Yeah, do you know what you put them in a?
Don't say put
Continue.
them in the
No,
microwave.
continue. I want to know where this is going.
I don't put it in the microwave, no, but I don't fry it.
What?
How do you apply heat?
I don't know. The missus makes, so I don't know how she does them. I'm just guessing.
Yep.
I'll put my head down for a bit.
Oh man.
Does your missus do like podcasts as well?
Not that I'm aware of, but I think it's 2024. Anything's possible.
Oh man. Yeah,
No, I'll be honest. I got a scrambled egg. I didn't. To be out sounding, I don't want to sound extremely dim, but it's been a long weekend, and I got a poached egg and scrambled egg mixed up. Then, if I'm honest,
If it makes you feel any better, I would also use a frying pan to make poached eggs.
no, I feel absolutely. I feel fine now. Thank you.
If
You
you use
wouldn't fry a poached egg, though.
no, but you use a frying pan because if you use a deep
You
pan,
put the water
they
in, don't
fall
you?
apart. Yeah.
And what if she puts this juice in it? I don't know.
Welcome to Egg Disclosure, where we disclose tips and tricks about how to cook good eggs.
I have these little molds on my grill outside my Blackstone. That's what I do my eggs. I have a lot of people to feed here, so that's the easiest way.
Yeah, I would love that grill, Dave, but I've only got 2 kids.
They make smaller ones.
That grill's even big for you for your family. Like,
No, we're perfect right
grill.
now. Yeah, because I'm thinking about getting a second one. Although this is very much so off topic. But where were we? Aliens.
Yeah.
I was literally just going to flash this up again to remind people why we're here.
It does
Not
look
eggs,
like
not grills. Yeah.
Oh, we've made Matt hungry. Shh.
Don't drop that shot glass.
Oh dear. Yeah, we were on the 2020. So somebody in the chat actually did say that. What's his name? Ross Coulthard. He said 2027 as well.
His last name kind of sounds like a swear word.
Coulthard?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I still don't know how to say his name. I hear 50 different versions of it every week. Coulthard. I mean, what is it really?
I think it's Coulthard, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely, that could be a swear word. All words are made up. So it's whatever we say it is.
What's Rogan say? Mouth noises?
Get out, you
mouth noises.
Coulthard.
Yeah, exactly. You Coulthard.
So
You
I
donut.
wonder to get us back on some sort of topic.
Thank you.
I wonder if this is going to be the start of more stuff, because we've been seeing this for a while now, that just when the interest starts to drip away, like something big comes out, and like you don't get much more bigger than fucking Rogan or Bob Lazar. But
Element 115.
hey guys, thanks for dropping by.
Investigative podcast.
Hey, there they are.
But I've lost what I was going to say now because I said hello. Fuck me.
Maybe
Yeah,
later.
it doesn't get much bigger than a Rogan and no, stop it. Stop making me lose where I am because of penis. It makes me look bad.
I didn't say anything.
But you've got Tucker and Rogan talk about this stuff now. Like, there's no bigger. Like, there is no bigger people you can have on a bigger platform. Stop it, Dave. Nobody.
OnlyFans. No, yeah,
Much for the Tucker feet pics, huh? People pay extra for that sort of thing, you know.
Well, he tucks. He's a tucker.
There is. I'll tell you, there is. It's rumored that you're going to get Trump on Rogan.
Who? Oh, really?
I don't think he knows anything about aliens.
No, but Lee just said there's nobody bigger. Can you imagine if Trump
No,
goes
for half the time.
Oh. I don't know. We have to get out of the tape measure, I guess.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, I mean, obviously that'd be the biggest podcast that's ever been if that was to happen. But I'd be more interested in listening to him get Alex Jones back on now.
Get out of my brain, man. I was just gonna say, imagine getting Alex Jones, Trump on the same podcast with Rogan, dude.
Oh my God.
God Almighty.
That's the numbers wouldn't stop on that, you know, like it would just be continuous. It would be like a forever clock.
Be the most profitable podcast in the history of podcasts.
Please make it happen, please, dude.
Well, he's knocked Trump back 3 times, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Trump's asked to go on Rogan 3 times, and Rogan said
no way. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
he can't get over his Bernie bro.
Oh, okay.
But this is the thing. I think there's a shift with this stuff as well, because I don't know if you guys heard what The Rock was saying the other day, where he did as close to endorsing Donald Trump as the Rock could do when he was asked about not Bernie Sanders, when he was asked about Joe Biden, and he turned around and said, he said, I'm not throwing my weight behind political candidates anymore because I did last time, and you can see what a huge mistake it was. That's
just
like
pissed you didn't get all that Maui property.
You don't go into business with Oprah, do you? You go into business with Oprah, you're getting done over.
Yeah, no, you don't.
It's that, and then he
don't go to a Diddy party either.
Yeah. Well, he had a rough year. Nobody liked his shoes at the UFC either. He had a rough year.
I do think that if anybody was to make this 2027 thing happen, if we're going to get a disclosure, it would have to be somebody like that, though, for the world to actually listen.
Who?
Trump.
No, nobody would listen to him.
No one would listen.
No, that's wrong. Wrong candidate.
It's too polarizing.
Exactly.
The person you want is Rogan. That is you need somebody that is not universally liked, but not universally hated by one side. You mean
like the Conspiracy Mothership podcast?
Yeah.
Yes. That's another good place where it could happen.
There it is.
Dude.
But yeah, like it's. I almost think it might even kill the subject if Trump was to start talking about it.
It would, yeah. It would polarize. People would break into factions, and Trump derangement syndrome would set in, and people just. You'd have some people calling other people snowflakes. You'd have some sitting in the corner going, dyeing their hair purple and cutting penises off, and it's dogs, cats living together.
Whoever it is, though, I mean, you can't just use words to announce it, though. They're going to have to bring something along with it, hard evidence. You know what I mean?
Hard.
Even if, I agree, Trump would be massively polarized. You couldn't do him just without some actually hard evidence. Even if you had hard evidence, still kind of a rough sell. But yeah, I mean, even Rogan, you want to bring out a video, you want to bring out some biologic.
I do want to hear
something
the line
though, and hard that's biologic.
I want to see this. I want to see this hand movement, and I want to hear the words, "Nobody does disclosure like I do." That's what I want to hear.
That would be amazing.
The Greys, they're great golfers, great glutes on the Greys. Great guys.
Uh-huh.
Who right? So who could do it? Who could actually bring a disclosure if the what? If the
Rogan's
if there is-
good.
No,
Rogan's a
but
good
it,
choice.
has, it can't just be Rogan.
It has
Why?
to.
It can't just be Rogan on his show with like all of a sudden there's just
With all of the viewers in the world, the fact that nobody watches another
Who's
show
told
as
him?
much. What?
What?
there has to be something behind it for him to. There has to be some sort of evidence. People can't just take a disclosure from word.
No. But what
Yeah.
we're talking about is what platform would be. We agree there would have
Okay,
to
Rogan's
be.
platform, yeah.
There would have to be someone that would come on,
That's
probably
what-
from some sort of position of authority, but with something physical.
So let me recap. As Matt was saying, we need something massive, hard, and biological. And for your and Ollie's point, it's all about positioning. We need someone to get behind him with something
feel-
massive.
I feel
hard,
there's
and biological,
entendres going on here.
and shove it forward. Right?
A true gem to the show, Dave. Man, oh man.
I'm just breaking it down for the audience. You know, we're going
man, it's
fast.
great.
I want them to stay on the key points.
Ask yourself, are you entertained, audience?
I mean, I can't be the only one hearing that. Other people are hearing them say these things, right? It's not just me.
I mean, I made 269 jokes last week in a row almost. So I mean, I'm with you.
Yeah, make sure you check out the consensual mothership, people.
Consensual. There's nothing consensual about conspiracy mothership.
The first thing we're
Just
going to
relax your
do.
throat and go for it.
The first thing we're going to do if we're going to parodies on the consensual mothership is invite testicle material.
I mean, look at you. You're already giving them ammunition for me, Lee. Jeez.
Oh dear me. Yeah, but who then? So on the Joe Rogan show, but
Yeah.
what body would have to? Who would he have to be for the entire world to listen?
Doesn't matter who it doesn't. Who doesn't matter now. It would have to be the.
Anthony Fauci.
It
Most
depends
trusted
what it
man in
is.
science.
The science. He
The
is.
science. Trust the science. He is
Yeah.
the science.
Look, everybody loves a comeback story, Dave. Everybody loves a
Especially
comeback.
on OnlyFans.
The best thing about them is they're all vaccinated. I don't think the person matters. The evidence would matter. That's
Yeah.
that's what
I
would
think
sing
that
this-
I think the
tell
person
story.
matters more than the evidence.
But as like the interviews that who's the Poloska? I can't say her name. I can't remember. Her name.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pasalka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she's been like,
Diana.
dropping some killer interviews lately. And when she's talking about psychic phenomena and stuff like that, and she's saying the problem we have is science and the scientific method when it comes to it, because just because we can't physically measure this stuff or accurately, consistently measure it, doesn't mean it's not real.
Correct.
And that could be that's a real issue, especially. I mean, we just joked about the trust the science thing now, but especially with what's happened over the last few years of I mean, the sheen definitely came off it, but we deified science for a while. And I'm not saying science doesn't have its place. I'm not saying that it isn't a fucking necessary function of progress. But the minute you make something all ruly and godlike, is that you're fucked.
I'm gonna let the ruly one go. I had something for that, but let it slide.
Didn't Diana speak about? She spoke about Gary because she went out to that desert with Gary, didn't she? Was it was Gary Nolan
I think so.
that went out with her? Yeah,
They
went
got
out with her,
blindfolded, right? Couldn't take their phone.
Yeah.
Supposedly the gifting field situation. Kind of
but also Tucker Carlson is talking about Gary Nolan. Gary Nolan's not been on Joe Rogan yet. And
That's a good point.
like Gary Nolan, he's an interesting fella. Like, and I know there's these people in the community. Oh, Gary Nolan, grifter. You know, what's he grifting? He's just he's just interested in this whole thing.
I thought that was interesting what Tucker said about Nolan, because he brought up like the research funds and stuff he gets, because he essentially referred to Gary Nolan as having infinite money because of that.
Yeah.
So
he flew out to
So he's not in it for money. I watched the interview he did with Lex Friedman, because is anyone else's YouTube like this? Like, I watch lots of YouTube on my TV. Yeah, so I start watching a video, I go off to do stuff, and I come back and there's a video on. All roads lead to Lex Friedman on YouTube. It doesn't matter if you put video games on, doesn't matter if, and I don't watch the Lex Friedman podcast as a rule. I don't watch it. But if I just leave YouTube on long enough, the algorithm works its way back to some interview with Lex Friedman and someone. It's fucking
He's
weird.
popular, man. He's really popular.
Is he?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting podcast that he has every once in a while. I can't sit around and listen to him all the
No,
time.
I can't.
That's
He's a
the
little
important thing to take away.
Yeah, what do you mean?
You can't listen to him all the time. That's
Yeah.
a very consistent statement. You hear people say, yet
Okay,
the algorithm will always make sure he trends. Why?
I don't know. He does have a lot of gusts, man. He does. But yeah, like he's a little bit too monotone for me. I don't know. No offense out there, Lex.
I find his voice quite soothing and relaxing. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, that's great for ASMR, not great when you're trying to like get rid of your day at work.
Engage your audience.
Yeah.
You need dick jokes for that.
Yeah.
The last remember the last time that someone turned around and said, "Oh yeah, that guy's really interesting." I was so sleepy listening to him talk.
Passed out halfway through. It was riveting.
Oh dear. No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying though. Like, he does pop up a lot in my feed, and I do listen. I listen to a few of his shows. I don't, but I only listen to the ones that have anything to do with this subject.
Yeah. Same.
So, but
but what I was going to say was I did watch the Nolan interview with him, and I thought it was really interesting. That was actually, I didn't know who Gary Nolan was before the Lex Friedman interview. I'd heard of the name, and then I think my brain had actually mixed up with Christopher Nolan for a while. And then I watched the interview and thought, you're not saying anything about Batman. But
I think they're brothers.
You're not talking about Batman and the movies, and what are you doing? So you're telling me the movie guy is also at Stanford? Holy, what are you doing here? Multi-talented and in the definition.
Bravo.
He's got a lot of interests.
It's true. It's true.
A lot of hobbies. He's got a lot of hobbies.
But yeah,
I find it interesting how he separates himself from the mummies. That's what I really find interesting about Nolan. When they first kind of brought them out, he said, "Oh, I kind of trust Jaime and everything they're doing down there," and he kind of pushed himself away from it a little bit. And then when the recent ones came out, where they started kind of announcing all the U.S. people that were going to start kind of taking a look at these bodies and everything that was going on, he put out a tweet that said, "Yeah, see all the people that are out here. There's kind of an all-star cast." I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but this is who they need, not me. And he's kept kind of backed himself off from it again. He took every chance that he could to back himself up. And I kind of wonder how much PTSD does he have from the Atacama? He's not really interested in diving in on this one. It's weird.
Well, the Atacama one, he took that straight to TTSA, and that's when they released the information about the little tiny mummy, and said that this thing is a fetus that's got, I can't remember, I think it was something like a few thousand different genetic problems with it. It was the multitude of problems.
I'm still not sure what I feel about that little thing.
I look at that and the diagnosis they gave it, like we were just talking about. Forgive me for forgetting the woman's name in her podcast that was talking about
Diana.
Yes, the psychic phenomenon and thing like that science just hasn't caught up, right? Radio waves have always existed. Radiation has always existed. It's only in the past 100, 150 years as our science caught up to be able to measure and understand it to some degree. Same thing with magnetic fields have always existed. It's just in the last 150 years again that we're actually starting to understand some of the science and principles behind them. It's not saying all these other things aren't real. We just don't understand how to measure them or check them. We don't understand on what way that they operate yet.
Would it be fair to say that the like the small like fetus mummy body thing was the last time that Stephen Greer was relevant?
Ooh, yeah.
Well,
and taken seriously, like everything else he's done.
I don't know that he's ever
I think Unacknowledged did pretty well for him.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was big.
but isn't was Unacknowledged
the rumor?
The 3-hour advert for his app.
It was.
No, that was
100%.
the last one. That was.
I thought that was Unacknowledged.
I don't think that was Unacknowledged.
There's a bullet with your name on it.
It wasn't the last one because I didn't watch the last one.
There's a lot of those.
It was the one. It was definitely the one after Unacknowledged. That was the one. That was the one where he cried.
It was the first one.
Yeah.
It was the one before he started working with the Cousins brothers, wasn't it?
Yes, that's the one. Unacknowledged, I actually thought was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
I think they're all pretty done pretty well. To be fair, they're for independent like little documentaries that are going out. They're shot pretty well. They're edited pretty well. Everything's. They get a lot of hate from people who just can't pull their shit together to make their own. You know what I mean?
That's exactly the same thing that happens with Corbell, like that.
Yeah.
Everyone that turns around and says that, Corbell's no good at making documentaries. You go and make fucking
he's
Bob
definitely
Lazar
good at
flying
it.
saucers.
He's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Patient
The guy's
17 is fantastic.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And not spoken about a lot.
It should be. It should be that the material pulled from that guy's leg is from an isotope that should not be found in this galaxy.
That doctor's dead, isn't he? He's not around anymore.
Yeah, the doctor is, yeah. I think he died during the making of the film. But the patients are still there. The materials are. The main dude from that, the guy that was doing the research, the data from SEAL Labs, like all those things exist. That's people are like, I need physical evidence. There you go. No, it's from a nail, not according to SEAL Labs. You know, and they do all the nuclear testing for material and percentage wise and all that. Like they're not pulling any punches here.
I've got a question that's just come to my head. If you like, I need to watch that interview that Cat Williams did with the other podcaster I've never heard of before, because I thought the interview he did with Rogan was really fucking interesting. So I need to find that. But like when he was on Rogan to talk about what happens like amongst Hollywood, who was the guy that was on Roseanne Barr's podcast that I listened to the other day, Dave?
Jim Brewer.
Yeah. And he was talking about Dave Chappelle telling him that people knocked on the door to speak to Dave Chappelle. It freaked him the fuck out. And he said, you wouldn't believe who came to speak to Chappelle. How come no one in the UFO community, if this is like the truth, this is like the hard truth, Dave Chappelle's got people knocking on his door saying, right, you need to get in line. How come we never hear about these people knocking on the doors of UFO guys?
I mean, Nolan had the CIA come to him though, so it's you kind of do there. I mean, they definitely interacted with him.
But is that? I mean, that's the CIA. But it when we hear about these things, when it comes to the people, that
you're talking about okay,
that are really pulled into line. It seems like there's a separate thing above what we think of government and law enforcement.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. We've never heard of it. All of the people, Stephen Greer, for instance, as big as he was with the fucking press club and all that sort of stuff, we've never heard rumors of, well, the Stephen Greer did the press club and he got the knock on the door and Tom Hanks was there with Oprah Winfrey and they're saying, do you want to come to an island? It hasn't happened in amongst this community. That leads me to believe that for some unknown reason, right, as massive and as important as we generally in this community think disclosure is, for some reason there is an entity above. By entity, I don't necessarily mean something non-human, but for shits and giggles, let's say it could be. But that means there's an entity above what we look at as government and like law enforcement and stuff like I just said, that seems to think that influencers, people with great influence like a Dave Chappelle or probably a Joe Rogan, are more important than people trying to tell people about aliens, and that should tell you everything about the validity of what they're saying. I think someone's getting murdered in a house.
That's me.
Sorry.
It's not mine.
It's mine. I have 5 kids. And they're 2 floors down.
I couldn't agree more, Lee. I mean, like, somebody's been in people's ears. I mean, for Tucker to even say that, there's other, I can't think of the names of the other people that have not. There's a few interviews that Tucker's been in, and somebody nodded and said, "I know what you're talking about."
Yeah, that was the redacted one, the redacted guy did that. But that's them hearing something about this phenomena. What I mean is that nobody's going to correct these people.
Right.
We're not hearing stories about someone knocking on Tucker Carlson's door, say like, "Listen here, all this like spiritual warfare stuff. How about we just keep to isn't Trump great? How about you just stay in that lane?"
And your career will go through the roof, you know.
Yeah, but it says to me, because this is what I was saying last night in the Conspiracy Mothership. It's on all podcast platforms. You could listen to it right now. Was Tucker Carlson, did Tucker Carlson like get like fired from Fox News and then decide he wanted to go down this line of saying, you know, speaking truth to power, becoming like the biggest independent journalist in the world, and deciding to go down this road of UFO disclosure and like spiritual warfare, talking about? Or was he told that he was leaving Fox News because this is your next assignment?
It's interesting, dude.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's maybe, right? Maybe you should always look at all these things with skepticism and caution, right? Like,
yes, everyone, like everyone, we should be looking at like this, and that's the thing. We have such a propensity to fall into confirmation bias. So I mean, we say about it with government stuff. Like we go, you can't trust the government, can't trust the government. Oh, the government's talking about aliens. Let's listen to that. And you know, we should be if we think something was wrong with 9/11, then we should probably think there's something wrong with the congressional hearings as well.
I mean, if that's Tucker's next move, though, Lee, why do you think that when he gets an interview with Putin, he doesn't bring aliens up? Why do you think that's left out of such a heavy exposured piece like that?
Maybe Putin wouldn't talk about it.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk about a list of exceptions? I bet that list was bigger than the dictionary.
Bigger than Bob Lazar's Element 115.
I'm glad you said dictionary.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was sitting there hoping he was going to ask, man. The whole way through, I'm like, please just drop it at the end, dude. Come on.
Maybe they talked about it afterwards.
The AI thing came into play, though, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting shot Putin took at him. Talking about him trying to get into the CIA.
Yeah. It's kind of a power play. It was like, hey, you know, no secrets over here, buddy. I know what you did.
In Mother Russia, Vladimir asked the questions.
Hell yeah, if you want to get back out of the country.
Dude, risky, man.
Speaking of Lex Friedman, didn't he go out there and he was supposed to interview him at one point? Whatever happened to that?
Heard about that,
I don't think they'd let the Mossad that close to Putin. Like, his security surely would not allow that to happen.
Like he went out there though, and like, and he was that was the I think that was the whole his mission was to
that was part of it. I'm sure that was part of it. Yeah. It is a strange thing to see what they're talking about in the news these days, right? For those of us that are conspiracy theorists, those of us who follow these bizarre things, and the government has always been the entity to see all these new converts, right? The newly baptized into the world of conspiracy that haven't learned yet that the government is the enemy. They're the bad guy. All governments. They're going to lie to you. They're going to manipulate you. They want to take your money. They want you to be quiet and sit down. Do what you're told. Sacrifice what they tell you to sacrifice while they live on, islands with children's and Puff Daddy. That's what it's all about, man. At the end of the day, we're spinning around on a ball paying taxes to pedophiles.
Allegedly.
No, they are. They have arrest records. They don't even bother to hide it. Yeah. What do we do? What do we do?
World.
Yeah, man. That's why we got to sit around and have fun, talk about crazy things, try not to take it too seriously. Remember, conspiracy theories are fun, and this shit's supposed to be wild and fun. Mm-hmm. And don't let it get you down. Have a little faith. Things will get better. Mm-hmm. Or they won't. Either way, it's out of your hands.
I mean, I was thinking about this, Dave, the other day, as I was watching that Jim Brewer episode. I can't remember the kid he was talking to, the backwards hat, orange shirt. He's some popular YouTuber or something. And I was thinking to myself, man, like there's been so much talk about the celebrities and Epstein stuff, and all that's been growing and growing and growing. Dude, that has to break at some point. Like I was asking myself, where do I see this going in 4 or 5 years? Do I see this just stopping, just going away? Or does this come to a head here very soon? Because I just don't know how they could continue to have these kind of conversations, have the stuff happen with P. Diddy, and have this all not come to some head.
Do you know why it's going to come to a head? You know why it's going to come to a head is exactly the reason what you've just brought up is because they're going to have to start engaging with this generation. So the reason this is not an accusation against people about this particular person, but they have to start going into like the Logan Paul world, for instance, and then like the ninja world and stuff. I'm not saying necessarily those people, but they're the celebrities. They're who the kids are watching. I mean, not even Logan Paul, essentially. Like he's older now, but as far as the streamers go and stuff like that, but what we keep seeing from this new generation of celebrity is early doors meltdowns. Like we keep seeing it over these Twitch streamers and stuff like that. If they're gonna start bringing those people into that fold, doing those sort of things, and it was easy before because you talk about actors which are only ever in controlled environments, so they're stuck out on a red carpet now and again. They speak, they wave, they smile. We go, oh, isn't everybody handsome? Are we having children yet? Or are you dating this? Are you dating that? I love your movie. And then they disappear off. We never see them again until their next movie comes around. Modern celebrities are celebrities 24 hours a day, and their fans have 24-hour access to them. Mm-hmm. So if you then try and encapsulate them into this like weird culty system to control them, that's fine. But when they have their YouTube meltdown and they're telling you, oh yeah, I was took to X billionaire's island where we had fucking bathhouses full of children, then it's that all of a sudden that's being talked about at some point when someone's playing Call of Duty.
So well, it's like you got Ryan Garcia now talking. I mean, dude, it just keeps escalating.
Yeah. Evil is prevalent and it's adaptive. And that's at the end of the day what we're talking about, right? Like it's good and evil. And what these things happen are evil. Diddy and his freak offs, Epstein Island, these are known things. I look forward to the day the stuff about Jay-Z starts coming out and everything that's wrapped around that guy. That'll be a great one to burn the bridge. But the thing is, if you look at it, it adapts from the old style Hollywood parties where influence was gained using these same methods to now with video cameras and videotapes and it's such a heavy thing. I mean, even Hulk Hogan's buddy was recording him, right?
Yep.
Like it's all of these people. It's how they operate. They're just twisted. And it makes sense in my mind before you go. It makes sense in my mind that we always hear these celebrities and whatever. They're always talking about this culture or that culture, or, this is pervasive and, we need to stop this abuse and exploitation. And those of us who live in the normal world are like, what the fuck are you people talking about? The reality is they're about this is because that is their world. And they've been in it so long, they've forgotten that the rest of the world is actually kind of a good place, and people are genuinely kind to each other.
I also think that the internet got away from these people at some point. Because that's why I was saying I wasn't accusing people like Logan Paul of being involved in this, because I don't believe they are involved in this sort of thing. Because I think the internet has spawned a level of celebrity which allowed people to get to a Logan Paul level and get to a Joe Rogan level, where they got to that escape velocity before, for want of better words, the cabal could get to them. They were already they already had what they were trying to achieve without needing to go to the parties and go to the islands. And then they got to those positions and went, oh fuck no, I don't want to come to your island. Go away, you creepy man, Mr. Gates. And I think that's so. Then you've got those people there, and like the way that Rogan has made a lot of his friends around him celebrities and household names too. The same with what Logan Paul has done. He's made a lot of his friends celebrities and household names and millionaires. Those people are then going to speak to other people, and then you get that whole like, fuck no, I'm not. I don't want to be part of your satanic cult. And that's why I think you're right. I think this will come to a head and it will break, because I think their system is breaking down.
I hope so.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's almost like they realized that with everything with Epstein was such a huge deal. And it opened up so many doors for people to see maybe what was going on behind the curtain so much. They said, look, too much of this has gone out. Some of the people lower than us, which is hilarious to say that they're lower. I mean, the big names like P. Diddy and stuff like that, like they're going to have to kind of allow them to start lopping off some heads to be able to kind of get some control of it again and say, see, it was all these people, and then go back to business as usual once they, convince everybody that the bad guys are gone. I don't know.
It also has gotten too big, like that the celebrity power players and power brokers, they got too big. They went too far. Like if you look at what happened to Britney Spears and you look into her case, I mean, is she nuts? Sure. Yeah. Look at why she's nuts. Look what they did to her. If you look at what's going on with Puff Daddy, and now you look at what a stupid name too. And the thing is, if you look at any of his pictures that he's with anyone, a number one creeper, pedophile, right? Like he's always kissing. It's got them crazy eyes. Like, dude, you need to relax. Like, back off. Why is anyone hanging out with you? But like, look at Justin Bieber. How bad do we feel for him?
Well, you haven't heard the end of that story, dude. It's probably more of that. So.
Yeah. I'm curious if it all is going to tie back into the government's understanding with the natural phenomenon that exists in the oceans and under the ground that is predatory in nature, apparently.
Maybe.
Who knows? And for more of stuff like that, you can go and listen to Conspiracy Mothership, available on all podcast platforms.
Yeah.
I take it next week, Ollie, as we hit the sort of hour and 40-minute mark, we'll be back to normal schedules next week now.
Yeah, we will be back to normal schedules.
Yeah.
After
back from not going to an island.
Yeah. I didn't go to an island.
Definitely went to an island.
I see the no Friday, no Saturday. The restlessness was in your community for sure. We were like, tell us what's going on. We got to know.
Yeah, I am knackered.
Yeah, it's we need to be back over a full weekend, because if we don't, Lou will multiply like one of the evil gremlins. So
just don't feed him after midnight.
Well, he has no idea.
How do you stop him, Dave? How do you stop him feeding?
Heavy tranquilizers.
He doesn't even know it's you messaging him, Lee. He thinks it's me.
Yeah, no, it's now part of my bit. It's great.
Burning bridges.
There's it's only been the fact I've stopped drinking. I haven't said something like horrifically offensive, like cancelable offensive. You should be thankful that I'm never two bottles of wine deep anymore.
Well, we've got the so the shows are out now. So if you enjoyed listening to spit it out, if you enjoyed listening to us tonight, you can listen to the Conspiracy Mothership right now. Because how many episodes are up? Is it just
just one episode's up? We will be in the we're going to record another episode this week. We will in the future probably be putting the Mark Sargent episode up with on Conspiracy Mothership. So there's loads of stuff coming down the road. It's going to be awesome.
So just to make it very clear to the addicts, this is its own thing. You are going to get separate content.
Yeah, and you need to see it's its own podcast feed as well. So you need to go and search for Conspiracy Mothership. There is 372 people watching now. I hope every single one of those is going to do that because it would make me very happy.
Yeah, I think we've got over 100 on each platform, which is pretty cool.
And let's face it, like if you're not here to make me happy, what's the point in you being here?
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, Conspiracy Mothership people, make sure you head over, and if you could leave a 5-star review, you will see for any of the original addicts, you will see a couple of old Conspiracy Motherships on there, just because we had to do that to launch it.
No, they won't have got rid of them.
They won't got rid of them.
No, I got rid of the old Conspiracy Motherships to aid SEO.
Oh, there we go. There we go. It's all new.
It's all new, yeah.
And yeah, are we going to put the intro?
Yeah, well, as a little sneak peek of what the vibe of the show will play out with the theme tune of that show. Now, are you going to do that, Ollie, and get us out of here?
I will do that, but also make sure you go follow Conspiracy Mothership on Twitter, which Dave will be taking care of that.
We keep it kinky.
It is very kinky. Yeah. Dave also appreciates pictures of penises. So there you go.
Whatever piece of your flesh you want to send it on.
Yeah. And Matt,
yeah.
What's going on in your world before we go?
Yeah, every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, I go over the news on Terrestrial Material. It's on YouTube. And then if you want to follow the Twitter, sometimes I'll say some mouthy stuff or something funny over there. I try to be, at least. Who knows if it works, but at Terrestrial MAT, so Terrestrial Matt over there. And yeah, I just did an episode today. I went over Kona Blue. The FOIA release between Kirkpatrick and Mellon was pretty cool. And then I do focus as much as I can on the current congressional situation of what the UAP caucus is doing to see kind of the progression of disclosure, what's coming from those guys. So yeah, every Sunday I'll be there 1 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome, mate. Awesome. And yes, thank you so much. We do have a Patreon. It is linked in the link tree below. And we appreciate any help all the help you guys give us, whether it's you're going to get yourself some merch, which we change every couple of months, and we do stick to our word on that because it does get changed. But yeah, channel members, Patreons, whatever support you can do. And if you can't support it that way, give us a thumbs up, give us a 5-star review on Apple Music. Can you give a 5-star review on Spotify?
You can give a 5-star review on Spotify, but it's really awkward and you have to do it from a desktop PC. But it is unbelievably important that you give us the reviews because it helps get ahead of the other shows. You know, that's the top and bottom of it. We can make the best content in the world, but if the algorithm doesn't pick it up to serve it to people, we might as well record it on a micro SD and throw it in the sea. So yeah, you guys can help that.
Right. So to lead us out, I will play the new theme tune to Conspiracy Mothership, put together by Lee. So there you go. I'll drop us down, boys, so that we don't get any interference, unless we just mute us mics while it's on. Good night, God bless. Mind the bugs don't bite. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and all that jazz.